I struggle to actually fathom what I have just watched over that 90 minutes. That is beyond an absolute disgrace. What was that performance? What was the game plan today? What were we even trying to do? I can take losses, and I can certainly take losses when the other team is the better side. I can take it. And today, granted, absolutely, Newcastle were the better side. But Liverpool are a better team than Newcastle, right? During the week against PSG, they're a top side. You can easily go out against them over two legs. But today, no. You're getting no excuses. No excuses. Not a single excuse. That is absolutely embarrassing. That is absolutely, utterly pathetic. And I cannot, still, an hour and a bit after that game, actually believe what I watched on that Wembley pitch. The fact is, we're just not that good. I think, we're so much better than what we actually are this season. We are not that good. Don't get me wrong. We are a really good side. We are a good side, but we're not that good. We cannot be that good with the forward options we have. We can't. It's literally, if Salah doesn't save us, then nobody does, because the rest of them are terrible. It's true. And we're so lucky we have a 12-point lead in the Premier League, because if this was close, we would not be winning it. I cannot get over that performance. I mean, first half, you're thinking, when are Liverpool actually going to show a bit? It didn't really happen. Our first shot was on the edge of half time. Then second half, we concede a goal. It's disallowed correctly for offside. Oh, we'll learn our lesson now. We'll learn our lesson. No. Ball goes in afterwards, literally like 2 minutes later or less, down to Isak, and he finishes it in acres of space in the box. Granted, after that, a little bit better, but it was too late then. That's a cup final. I don't care if it's a Carabao Cup. I don't care what it is. You play for the badge. You look like you care. And whatever happened during the week or anything like that, you put that behind you because you're a professional footballer. That is an absolute disgrace today. That is an absolute embarrassment. And to be quite honest, right? To be completely 110% honest, it's completely inexcusable. It's completely unacceptable. And every single person working for Liverpool today got that wrong. From the players to the manager. And I love and adore the vast majority of them. But criticism is certainly due after that. I am absolutely fuming. My head has been on Mars since, I think, maybe about 80 minutes of that game, when I knew that nothing was going to happen. Very, very few of those Liverpool players can hold their head even somewhat high today. So while we're on the subject, why don't we get into Liverpool player ratings? Caoimhín Kelleher, one of the few who didn't put in a bad performance. Made a couple of good saves, couldn't do anything about any of the goals. I seen some people saying that he could have saved the first. That was ridiculous. It was a great header from Dan Burn. Hat off to him. Caoimhín is getting a 6. Jarrell Kwanzaa onto the defence. I'm going to be real. Did a really good job today. Again, one of the few who can actually hold their head somewhat high. I thought defensively he was good. Up against, was it Harvey Barnes? He had a couple of forays forward. His passing was quite decent. He was arguably, I think, our best player. Potentially anyway. We will obviously get through that as we go along. I'm going to say 7. Ibrahima Konate, just not good. I don't think either of our centre-halves were good today. I was seeing some people say that Van Dijk was quite clutch in a lot of moments. And he was. I mean, it would have been worse without Konate and Van Dijk at times. But, look at the 2 goals. Granted, the first goal, I mean, that's not Konate or Van Dijk's fault. But look at the space that Isak has for the second goal. One of the best strikers in the world. That's not on one of Konate or Van Dijk. It's on both. Come on. I mean, it's just basics. Other than that, he was okay. I mean, once Liverpool actually got some sort of a foothold into the game, we were okay. And for large parts of the first half, we were comfortable enough defensively, and then just conceded a goal from a corner. 5. On to Virgil van Dijk. Well, as I said, most of the things I said about Ibu really just translates to Virgil as well. He got some fantastic headers. He had some fantastic clearances, some fantastic interceptions, but the second goal, it just doesn't sit right with me. And then there was other moments as well, like the ball across to Harvey Barnes and Isak in the middle in complete space to tap it in for 3-0. Imagine if that was 3-0. Like, talk about embarrassing. But look, not good, not awful. Yes, there was a few moments without Konate, and especially without Van Dijk, it would have been worse. I'm going to say Van Dijk 5.5. Andy Robertson, he was beaten for the header by Jacob Murphy. I'm not sure how tall Jacob Murphy is, but he clearly beat him to that header for the second goal and knocked it down easily to Isak for Isak to sweep the ball home. Defensively, not fantastic. I mean, the signs, again, of him getting closer and closer to the end of his career, I would say, are showing. Look, not good. A couple of good blocks, I remember, in that game. A couple of times going forward. Okay, his deliveries weren't great either. I'm going to say 3. On to the midfield, Ryan Gravenberch. I love this guy, man. I really do. But wow. He was playing centre-back for a lot of that second half. Obviously, he was subbed towards the end. But wow, he had no control in that midfield. He had no influence going forward. He looked tired from minute 1. It's really worrying. And I'll say again, thank God we have a 12-point lead at the top of the Premier League. Gravenberch, you can tell me if I'm being harsh or not, but 2. Alexis McAllister, why was he marking Dan Burn on the corner? I had a comment during my stream, and you can tell me how true it is or not, but Alexis McAllister, supposedly the smallest player on the pitch, Dan Burn, the tallest player on the pitch, and McAllister is marking Burn. Obviously, that's not Macca's fault. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Can somebody explain it to me? But look, he tried. As only really some of these players did today. His passing was okay. He was creative at times. He advanced Liverpool up the pitch, but not great. I mean, like Gravenberch, he didn't have much influence really. Neither did any of our midfielders. I'm going to say 4. Dominic Szoboszlai, little to no influence first half. Was barely seen on the ball. His passing, I think, improved in the second half. He's seen more of the ball. He had more of an influence, but he was far from his best. Let's be real. I don't think there was any Liverpool midfielder that properly played well today. And look, Newcastle have a good midfield, but we have came up against better midfields this season and done an awful lot better. So I don't know what was the big problem today, especially when we came up against that very same midfield only a couple of weeks ago. Just tell me. I just can't explain it. I'll say Sabo gets a 4 as well. Mohamed Salah, the last player I want to criticize in the world. For me, the best player in the world this season. But wow. I mean, Liverpool were pathetic for about 60 odd minutes there. But then when Newcastle kind of sat back a bit and Liverpool started creating things, Salah even then was barely involved whatsoever. I mean, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And I don't know if it's with the fasting or whatever. I'm not sure. But Last few performances, I thought he was okay during the week against PSG. He was just quite unlucky. But today, I mean, there was, even when he got the ball, and just no influence, no impact at all down that right. Salah gets a 2. Luis Diaz, obviously, he was up against Kieran Trippier today, and Kieran Trippier got the better of him, as does most right-backs up against Luis Diaz, because he's not good. He's not good. And this season, he's living off the first few months of the season, because since about the turn of the year, since like December, he's been absolutely pathetic. He's not good enough for Liverpool Football Club. At times he can show you some bits of quality, but it's never consistent. In front of goal, he never knows what he is doing. He never knows what to do. And he's just basically like a slightly better version of Nunez as a winger who's Colombian. 2. Diogo Jota. I mean, what's happened to this guy? This guy has fell off the biggest cliff I have ever seen. It is sad. It's actually crazy. It's insane. I always loved Diogo Jota. I really did. And I really always have. But what we have seen since he has came back from the injury is absolutely unbelievable. That's exactly what I would say. I mean, we always known Diogo Jota for quality. We always known Diogo Jota, especially for quality in front of goal. He adds absolutely nothing anymore. One, he's not reliable, and we were talking about reliability earlier on in the season when he got injured. He was good enough he was decent to that point. But since that, apart from maybe like one appearance against Nottingham Forest, absolutely shocking. He can't do anything anymore. Even his link-up play is shocking. He can't create chances for his wingers even. He can't pass the ball. When he gets any sort of a chance, or when he gets the ball in a decent position, it's like he's lost the use of his legs. It's like he's lost all of his footballing intelligence as well. He just looks like a deer in the headlights, man. It's sad. And these players have to go because they're not good enough. Thank you for your service, but goodbye. Like the ones I've mentioned, you know who I'm talking about, including, obviously, Jota. Jota gets a 1. On to the subs. This should be fun. Darwin Nunez came on for Jota after 57 minutes. He did absolutely nothing. I really didn't want to see him ever play for Liverpool during the week, because he single-handedly made sure that Liverpool lost that game after coming on as a sub and absolutely stinking the gaff out. But, came on and made absolutely no contribution whatsoever, and especially in the last 20 or so minutes where Liverpool were actually having a lot more of the ball and actually creating chances for the first time in the game. He was still non-existent. He is awful. He's the worst player in the squad, and I praise God that Saudi come back in the summer and take him away at a half-decent price, because any half-decent club paying big money for this guy is absolutely cuckoo. Nunez gets a 0. Curtis Jones came on, brought some energy to Liverpool, had a couple of nice touches, 1 or 2 nice passes. Again, though, midfield just didn't make any sort of a difference. A couple of subs, a couple of midfielders who actually came on were okay, better than what preceded them, but that wasn't very difficult. Jones was one of them who was okay. He didn't do an awful lot wrong, I'll give it to him, but he did come on, obviously, in where the game was at a very different stage to what it would have been earlier for. Cody Gakpo, I love the guy, but he's clearly unfit. And look, that's why he didn't start today. It's such a pity, because we have to sit through watching Diaz, but he's not fit. It's as simple as that. We've seen that during the week, and we've seen that today. So I think he doesn't deserve any criticism at all. I'll give Cody a 4. Harvey Elliott, now, I would say our only half-decent midfielder today. But we don't see much of him, though. We don't see him play much. Why? And I seen a tweet earlier. Slot got it completely wrong today. Played the exact same 11 as midweek. And look, we'll get on to that when we talk about the manager. But, why does somebody like Harvey Elliott not start today? Like, you see the energy he brings when he comes on. At least he'll get you out. At least he will actually advance the team. Came on today, he had some nice passes. He was at the forefront of Liverpool's creativity and best chances that we had over the last kind of 20 minutes. I'm honestly going to say Harvey Elliott gets a 7. Finally, Federico Chiesa. I had a little crash out on stream after Chiesa scored. Obviously, happy to a point Liverpool scored, but I knew we weren't getting an equaliser anyway. But it's just mind-boggling. Why does he not play? Can anybody answer that? He's on the bench all the time. He rots on the bench. Even when Liverpool need him, we bring on somebody like Nunez, whereas Chiesa's just there on the bench. We know this guy's got quality. He's been there and done it. Today, one chance and a brilliant finish past the keeper. When is the last time that you have seen Jota, Diaz or Nunez do that? Yet Chiesa rots on the bench. Make it make sense. Please. Just make it make sense to me. I don't know. I really don't. I adore Arne Slot, but does he have his favourites and kind of non-favourites? It's weird. It's really, really weird. And I mean, look, why sign him if you're not actually going to play him? Today, Slot's hand was completely forced to play him. So he basically had to, those last kind of like 15, 20 minutes. Federico Chiesa, I can't give anybody higher than a 7 today, but our 3 best players, 2 I aforementioned, and Chiesa 7. And the manager, I adore Arne Slot. I think he's a fantastic manager. I think he's going to continue to improve Liverpool year on year. But today he got it absolutely wrong. Obviously mentioned, played the same 11 as midweek. A tired 11. And I would say is still kind of disappointed and demoralised 11. And it's just a weird one. Look, he made subs. I think really he should have made subs at half time. That first half was the worst first half of the season. And there has been some poor first halves this season. But that was the worst against a team who you're how many points ahead of in the Premier League, against a team who you have more quality and you're better than. It's just weird. It's just really weird. Look, obviously he brought Chiesa on and Chiesa got a goal, but like as I said, his hand was basically forced into doing that because he had no other option. Look, I think he got very, very little right today, to be honest. I mean, Gakpo as well clearly is not fit. So, obviously, Gakpo comes on after, 67 minutes. I think one of the first changes should have been somebody like Chiesa. I don't think Nunez should have came on at all because, if anything, he makes you worse. And the likes of Harvey Elliott, maybe even Curtis Jones should have started. It's a pity today, but the future is certainly promising with Arne Slot. I hope and I'm sure he will learn from days like today too. So that is my match reaction and Liverpool player ratings to today's 2-1 loss in the Carabao Cup final to Newcastle. I want to reiterate a congratulations to Newcastle. They fully deserved it today. They were the much better team. We were lucky they only scored 2 goals, to be honest. And I am genuinely happy for them winning their first trophy in 70 years. No bad feelings towards Newcastle at all and their team and manager. They're a likeable side. But from our side today, just beyond pathetic, beyond embarrassing, beyond a disgrace. You can't back that. And anybody who has a go at me for criticising certain players or whatever, if you can't criticise after that, if you can't tell these footballers, you're not good enough, you're not doing good enough, and you have to do better, you have to look like you care, you have to look like you actually want it, then, you never will. You never will tell them. You'll just be one of those people who just sit back and just say everything is fine, like that meme where it's like a dog walking in and the fire is all over the place. Yeah, everything's fine. Don't get it twisted. We need a big summer transfer window. especially up front. A lot of these players have to go, and we need to bring in the right players to replace them. It can't anymore just be Salah, FC, and Inshallah. Oh, I just feel crap after that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you got this far, I really appreciate you. We will have better days ahead. Please God. Well, we will this season. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'd very much appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers. Up the Reds.